My name is John, and this is my good buddy Andy, and you're listening to the Packers Blitz podcast, the podcast done by two diehard Packer fans who survived the dark times of the 1980s Packers football and lived to talk about it. And of course, Packer Blitz fans are the greatest fans of all, and we always dedicate our shows to the Packer fans. But hold on a second. Tonight, oh boy, we have a frenemy. We have on the show a special guest. Mondo, he is from 305 Paranormal. He and his lovely wife, Jen, are paranormal investigators in their off time and podcast hosts. So go check them out on YouTube, Instagram, wherever they're at, because not only you can watch a football game, then you can be like, cool, I'm going to listen to some paranormal stuff and have Jen and Mondo scare me. And they've been on my podcast, my other podcast, which is a paranormal podcast. So Paranormal and the Packers, there's two of my loves, Dairyland Fried. So you can check them out there. And Mondo is an avid Dolphins fan who's going to give us the insight, not only into the Dolphins, but we play them on Thanksgiving night at Lambeau Field. Welcome, Mondo. How are you?
Thank you for having me, John and Andy. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it, man. I know I'm stepping behind enemy lines, but this is gonna be fun.
I wish everybody could see Mondo right now because he is decked out in Miami Dolphins gear right now.
And I'm in my favorite Miami Dolphins player of all time, Jason Taylor.
Ooh,
My
Jason Taylor.
my father's favorite was Dan Marino. But I kind of caught Marino, I guess you can say, during the almost mid 90s. So I didn't get to fully see his whole career. Basically, the last time the Dolphins went to the Super Bowl was the year I was born. I was born in 1984. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been
Dude.
But I didn't get to see him. I saw Jason Taylor's whole career.
Oh, I love
so that's why to me he's my favorite all-time Miami Dolphin.
Awesome.
And I'm blessed to be able to see his career. And you know what? In Miami sports in general, because I've my folks and my uncles, they all raised me, you go for your home teams.
Yes. Right.
So I got to cherish the Miami Heat when we had our run. I just got to celebrate with my kids for the very first time ever a championship when our Florida Panthers won this past season. So yeah, man, it's awesome, and I'm looking forward to maybe the Dolphins doing something special this year. Let's see.
All right. So here, first question, Mondo, right out of the gate. Why does Tyreek Hill want to race everybody? Now he wants to race
because
the Olympic gold medalist. Stop it, Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek, I need you, buddy. If you're listening, I need you to this year not concentrate on the receiving yards record. I know you were trying to beat that last year. And I think that was kind of like a bit of our demise in some of the games because they were using him so much that he had some drop balls that could have been easy first downs. There was one against the first time that we played Kansas City that would have been a wide open touchdown. Like the speed that man has, literally the fastest player in the NFL, he would have had that touchdown and the game would have had a different outlook. Now you're gonna challenge this guy. Yeah, he's an Olympic, participant.
Yes,
I believe he won bronze, but they were saying that he won bronze and he had COVID, right?
Yeah, he had COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can only imagine. This man is out there getting the gold if he didn't have COVID. So I don't know, Reek. Let's get ready for week 1, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just like, if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm like, you don't see Jordan Love going, hey, some guy in the street. I can outpass you. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's not like out there saying that stuff. He's like,
It,
no, I
right.
gotta
This
pass.
isn't the '90s when we used to have the QB challenge in Hawaii during the summer that we used to watch.
Yeah.
It's not those days anymore.
Right. Like, slow down, buddy. Slow down.
Yeah.
You got a 17 game season, and you're Joe Burrow's back. Well,
Mm.
we'll see if he's back.
What I'd like to see
With the,
is
go ahead.
Christian Watson and Tyreek
Mm.
Hill race because Christian
Yo,
Watson's
so
pretty
Packers
pretty darn
Christian
fast.
Watson. Yes. So Packers Christian Watson, Mondo, he can run a sub 4.3. That's what he
I'm
says he
I'm
can.
familiar. I'm familiar with the pack. So,
Okay.
I, little tidbit of information. So, I was raised. You always go for your home teams, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that I do love some other teams that I'm not going to sport their gear. But if I have a chance to catch a Packers game, I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've
You
been
know what?
catching them since you guys had Brett Favre
Yeah.
and you had Rodgers, and now
Yeah.
Jordan Love. I really do like Jordan Love. So I like the Packers except for when you guys play us. And
I hear you. I hear you.
and I made a promise to a friend, and I've kept that
Uh-oh.
promise ever since. If the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, you guys will be one of the teams that I follow. And they beat the Patriots 2 times for me
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So I always watch out for the Giants as well. But
Yeah.
definitely I check out the Packers. And your little factoid nugget so far in the very beginning of the show, believe it or not, when Brian Flores was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, he was urging the GM and the owner to draft a quarterback that you guys might know, Jordan
Mm,
Love. He was
really?
urging them to
Really?
to draft Jordan Love, and we ended up selecting Tua Tagovailoa, which has been
Mm.
a phenomenal choice as well.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
so.
not a lot of people know, and
Yeah.
this was information that was the guy that I listened to. He's had this nugget, but he was kind of sworn to secrecy by the
Oh,
people that he knows in the
yes.
organization,
Yeah.
because once you divulge that information, even though they tell you it's secret, you kind of lose your credentials.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he was sworn to secrecy, but he kept saying like, "Hey, the Dolphins, the owner and the GM love Tua, but not Coach Flores."
Mm,
And Coach
interesting.
Flores was kind of like not giving him the day of light. There was
Yeah.
one particular week during Tua's rookie season
Uh-huh.
that they were playing the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
This week, Jacoby Brissett was supposed to start, and he didn't want Tua getting any reps. He wanted all the reps to go to Jacoby Brissett. So
Hmm.
Tua was getting the backup, kind of like the emergency reps,
Mm, mhm.
and the Tua half the time during the week was actually playing golf because Flores didn't want him in the field practice.
Wow.
And little did he know, Jacoby Brissett was stinking up the joint. We
Mhm.
were down big, and they threw in Tua, and Tua was lighting up the field. And
Yeah.
Tua led the Dolphins to a comeback victory, to a little touchdown down the middle by Jalen Waddle, and we won the game. But
Yeah.
Tua is he's the real deal too.
Yeah.
I like both quarterbacks. I want to see both Jordan Love and Tua
Yeah.
excel. So
Yeah.
it's a
Absolutely.
little factoid that I can drop to you guys so far that I had.
Lo I love it. So, here's the thing, though. I watched Miami Dolphins Hard Knocks last year when they were on it. They did the mid-season one.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna say I like Mike McDaniel, but
Mhm.
also I don't like him because he doesn't seem like he was up there talking to people like, in the big group and watch Hard Knocks. I love it. If you're a football fan, you definitely check it out.
Mhm.
He was talking to everybody and he seemed like more like your college professor or high school teacher than like a coach. Like, am I
Mhm.
wrong on that? I mean, why can't they get over the hump? I mean, the guy's a genius. I mean, he's really smart. Why can't you guys get over the hump and get into the division, if not the championship rounds?
Okay, so funny you mentioned that because I was kind of like I was kind of giving you that info when we were recording our paranormal episode.
Yeah.
So in many ways, I see Coach McDaniel kind of similar, like how I would. We called him down here Man Campbell, but Coach Dan Campbell.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
they're kind of very similar, where the players will run through a wall for that coach.
Hmm.
They love him. They love Coach McDaniel just like they love Coach Campbell. In different ways, there is their failures, whereas
Hmm.
Coach McDaniel, what I see is that he needs to become a better game day coach.
Hmm.
He's
Okay.
amazing. He has an amazing mind when it comes to developing plays, and
Yeah.
he's prevalent, and he's kind of falls in that Shanahan tree
Yeah.
where they need to focus on speed. And the Miami Dolphins have to be the fastest bunch in the NFL between
Oh, yeah.
you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen
Uh,
Waddle.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
have Raheem Mostert that
Yeah.
has been an
Mhm.
amazing pickup for
Oh,
us
yeah.
from the
Yeah.
49ers.
He has.
You have Devon Achane that he was in talks for offensive rookie of the year before he got hurt halfway through
Mhm.
the season.
Mhm.
He was
Yeah.
breaking rookie records to that point. And then we just drafted Jalen Wright, which was one of the best running backs coming out of the University of Tennessee, the Volunteers.
Mhm.
He's
Mhm.
been lighting up training camp. And this
Hmm.
past preseason game, he had a move that it looked just like you were watching, Barry Sanders or like
No.
a
Sure.
Jamal Charles type
Uh-huh.
of run where they run towards the right, see that the defense is coming right at him,
Mhm.
jukes everybody and cuts
Yeah.
back the other way. That play should have been, guys. Should have been easily a seven
Mhm.
or 8 yard loss,
Mhm.
and it ended up being a 14-yard gain, something like
Mm.
that, something
'Kay.
ridiculous. So super excited about that. But Coach McDaniel, going back to that, he needs to be a better game day coach.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, for example, he draws up the play. He tells Tua the play, but
Yeah.
when Tua's already receiving the play, it's about 8 to 9 seconds left on the
Mhm.
game clock before he's got to run it. So
Yeah.
Tua does not have time to audible. If Tyreek wants to go in motion, he has to do it super fast because he's getting the
Yeah.
play way late. He needs to decide on the play that he wants to run a lot quicker just to give
Mhm.
Tua the ability to audible. And
Yeah.
that's one nitpick that I have with Tua, maybe the only one.
Hmm.
Tua, if you're out there listening, my friend, please, if you don't like the play, audible. You
Yeah.
don't.
Right.
Coach McDaniel is not going to be right 100% of the time. You got to go with your gut, and if your gut's telling
Yeah.
you he's telling me to pass and I got to run, you
Yeah.
tell Mostert take this ball from me and go to the end zone. That's what
Yeah.
you got to do. So please, less game
So
play calls with less than 10 seconds. Please stop doing that. Another
so
thing as well.
Mondo, mean to interrupt you here, but his career mark is 20-16.
Mhm.
Uh, that's crazy. He's only 4 games over 500. Like,
He
huh. Yeah.
This year has been a lot better. This past
Okay.
year, but there's just things that he should easily be 10 to 15 games over 500. But I just believe
Absolutely.
it's his own undoing.
Yeah.
Because another point, you were so adamant on getting that wide receiver mark for Tyreek Hill that you abandoned the run in so many games. You
Mhm.
let the opposition come back on you when all you had to do was keep running the ball with Mostert, Achan. They were doing their thing. You decided to pass and pass and pass and pass,
Mhm.
and
Right.
you completely let the other team in because you're going three and out all the time when you could have been running, milking the clock. Possibly these running backs have been breaking tackles and things like that. You should have not abandon the run so quickly. And
Yeah.
the other last thing I got to nitpick about Coach McDaniel is you need to also be aware of your surroundings. And I'm
Mm,
going to give you two examples of that.
okay.
He was, I believe, he only won one challenge out of like 15 or 16 last year.
Yeah. Okay.
That's if you're not confident in what you're challenging, don't do it, because you're wasting our time out, and
Hmm.
two, it just makes you look like you're not aware of what's going on. Maybe
Yeah.
leave the decision to another coach or something like that. But
Yeah.
one for 14 or 15 or whatever it
Yeah.
was,
Right. Right.
completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Another thing too, another example of that, you need to, if you're getting blown out or you know you're gonna lose, you need
Sure.
to start taking out your star players, okay?
Hmm.
Because you left Bradley Chubb in the
All
blowout,
right.
and that injury was so unfortunate because it not only did it end up being a season-ending injury, but Bradley Chubb, which was the sack leader last year, he would have had way more. He's going to miss a chunk of this season. How big of a chunk, I don't know yet.
Mhm.
They're starting to say that he's looking better, so maybe he might be back by week 3 or week
Mhm.
4.
Yeah.
But still, that's a fourth of the season or whatnot.
Yeah.
And same thing happened with Jalen Phillips. Thank God he started practicing today, but it was something similar to that. So yeah, if you're getting blown out, take out your star players
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
at least
Why?
live to fight another day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Andy, do you have any questions for Mondo?
No, he's pretty much covering everything. I have
That's awesome.
rebuttals for some of the things that he's saying about
We got
Tua,
rebuttals.
but no, I don't have many. I mean,
So
it's very,
let me
very
ask.
interesting what he's
Okay.
saying about the fans running through walls from Mike McDaniels. So
Mhm,
Yeah. But let me ask you this, Mondo. Matt
mhm.
LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, what who you going with? If you had a choice, like here's two, you're the GM, you're the Dolphins GM, and Matt LaFleur interviews with you, and Mike McDaniel interviews with you.
Mhm.
Who you going with? Who you think? You gonna stay with your guy? I don't know. I think Matt LaFleur
I,
could do a little bit more for you.
I, I, it's hard for me to answer because of being a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm telling you, I'm watching from afar,
Yeah,
and I do appreciate your coach. You guys are
yeah.
doing your thing. In this little portion of the game that we have coming up later, I have you guys way further in the playoffs than where you were last year. So
Really?
that's how much I believe in Pac Nation.
Oh boy, we love
And
that Packer fan.
the Giants, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's just Daniel Jones. You got to get rid of him. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
So,
And
so
one of the
John, before we
oh,
go
go
on,
ahead.
I did have a question for Mondo.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
believe you had a really good defensive tackle. I
Mhm.
think it was Christian Wilkins, I want to
Correct.
say.
Yeah, he went to the Raiders. Yeah.
Correct. How do you guys
Mhm.
feel about that? Because I thought that was a result of them signing so many offensive players that they didn't have any money left to
Mhm.
devote to the defensive side of the ball, which isn't necessarily a good balance. So I was just wondering what your take on that was. I thought that was really, really surprising because you can't find really great
Yeah,
defensive tackles like him.
yeah.
So yes,
No.
you're absolutely right. He's with the Raiders right now.
Right.
I just was wondering your take on that because that one really struck me when I saw that happen that he had
Mhm.
gotten, I believe he got just a free agency, went to them. I don't think they had to give up
Yeah.
anything for him. So
No, no. Yeah, he went straight up. He went with the team that gave him the highest offer. We had given him an offer, but what the Raiders had offered, and I believe we weren't even in the top 2 or 3. But
Mhm.
where
Oh
what other
wow.
people were willing to offer was way more, and where I have some indecision when it comes to Coach McDaniel, I do not have any indecision when it comes to my front office staff. I believe they're
Really?
incredible. Yes, because they've unearthed a lot of players that weren't even high end of the draft. They were low end of the draft. There was some street free agents, like for example, somebody that made themselves an NFL contract and wasn't even drafted, went signed with the Minnesota Vikings, which was one of our better defensive players, Andrew Van Ginkel. He made himself some money.
Yeah.
So that's somebody that wasn't even a high draft pick. So this team, there's other players as well. Like we, unfortunately, we just lost a good prospect that we had on the O line, Keon Smith. It seems like he tore his, I think it's MCL. I believe it's the MCL that he tore, and he's out for the season, which is a shame because he was gonna. They were looking at him to be one of the potential tackles for the future. But we did draft in the second round this year Patrick Paul, which Patrick Paul, as far as in off season in camp and in preseason, the first game, that guy was moving defenders like it was going out of style. Um,
Yeah.
on the other side of that coin, though, Atlanta Falcons, I am
Mm.
super impressed having
Oh,
watched you guys practice against the Dolphins and that first preseason game with the Dolphins. I
yeah, yeah.
didn't have you guys really making the playoffs. After
Mm.
watching you guys practice and after that preseason game, I have you taking your division over the
Mm.
Buccaneers, even though I thought the Buccaneers were going to take that one
Mm.
easily. The
Yeah.
the Falcons defense is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Andy, you got any more questions? Because I want to shoot right into the 2024 regular season schedule, and we're gonna do win loss, and we're gonna start with Mondo. So, Andy, anything else you want to bring
You
up?
want to hold off on my assessment of the Miami football
Yeah,
team,
let's hold off on that. We'll
and
do
then
it after the
Mondo can respond to what I'm going to
yeah,
say
yeah. Then
about
he can
that.
respond. How's that sound?
All right. Yeah.
All right. So let's start, if this is okay. Let's start with your first game, win or lose, Mondo. Jaguars, Dolphins, September 8th, 12 p.m. So you got a home game against the Jaguars, win or lose.
I am going to say we are going to win our season
Hmm.
opener against the Jaguars.
Okay. Nice. All right. Then you got, and Andy loves Josh Allen. I'm just telling you,
Mhm.
Bills are at Dolphins September 12th. That is a night game, 7:15. Who you got?
Oh, I'm going with my Fins. Fins are winning
Oh,
Thursday night.
ooh, look
Mhm.
at you. I love the confidence. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, oh man, this is a gimme game. If you guys can't beat these guys, I'm gonna September 22nd, 3 o'clock afternoon game. You are at the Seattle Seahawks. Come on, that's a win,
It's
right?
a win. It's a
All
win.
right.
The Dolphins, we seem to not play well against the West Coast teams when we have to
Yeah.
go to them, but I see
Mhm.
them this becoming a win
Yeah, yeah.
easily. We're
All right.
going 3-0 up to this point. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh wow. You guys are smoking out of the gate. September 30th.
Tennessee win.
Titans Dolphins.
Yeah.
Come on, that's a
Win.
win, right?
That
That's a
that
6:30
no
game.
more Ryan Tannehill and
Yes, Tannehill.
Derrick Henry has now made the
Love
Baltimore Ravens more
yeah, the
dangerous,
Ravens. No.
but he's no
You
longer with the Titans, so that's a win
uh,
for the Dolphins.
now here's another powder puff.
Uh,
Dolphins at the Patriots, October 6th, noon game. Come on. You gotta win that game, right?
Oh, it's years and years of watching number 12 just destroy us. This is
By the
our
way,
time,
yeah,
and this
we
is a
hate
win
Tom
for
Brady on this show, Mondo. We hate Tom
hate.
Brady on this show.
them. Hey, I feel right at home, man. What are we doing here, guys?
So that's another
Um,
win, right?
but to
That's
my
another
defense,
win?
I hate all Boston sports. So I hate the
Ugh.
Patriots. I hate the Red Sox.
Mhm.
Um, I just started watching hockey like 4 or 5 years ago, so I don't have that deep rooted hate for the Bruins like I do the other teams.
Mhm.
But the team I hate the most of all sports, the Boston Celtics. You
Yeah,
guys
I'm with you.
suck.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So you're undefeated. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
say this is your first loss. Dolphins at Colts, October 20th,
Mhm.
12 p.m. I think that's your first loss, my friend. I don't know. The Colts, I think, are going to give you guys a fight. What do you think?
I agree with you to a certain extent. I want to see the progression of Anthony Richardson. I do like the kid, and I do have the Colts making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I do not agree with you though. I actually don't see our first loss
Hmm.
for a couple more weeks. To believe it or not,
Okay.
so I see this as a win.
Okay. And then you play the Cardinals are at
Mhm.
Dolphins October 27th. That's a win. Anybody
This is a
disagree with that one? That's a win. All right.
mhm.
Then you go back November 3rd, you go to Buffalo, which
This is
Andy
where I
has
potentially
family
see
in
our first
Buffalo.
loss. Hmm.
Okay, so that's your first loss. So what are you,
Hmm.
6-1? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you go November 11th. This is another 7:15 game. Dolphins, Rams. Rams are a mess, I think. Right?
This is
What do you think?
a
His
tricky
team's
game.
7-1, John.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
tricky game. I can see the Finns winning this one, but
Mhm.
again, we do have that extra day of rest, so that we have
Yeah.
that going for us.
Yeah.
Maybe that helps mitigate that travel to the West Coast.
Hmm.
But I can see the Dolphins winning. Stafford, I've liked
Yeah.
Stafford for a long
So
time,
do
but
I.
he's kind of like hit or miss.
Yeah.
He did have that exceptional run that the year that they went to the Super Bowl. But no, I see the Finns winning this one.
Okay. Then you got, I don't know about the Raiders. Help me out, guys, with the Raiders. It's Raiders at Dolphins, November 17th. It's a noon game. Guys, help me out with the Raiders. Are they any good? Uh, are they? I don't
No,
I don't know.
No,
they don't have a
they
quarterback.
don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
They do
All right.
not have a
Who is
quarterback.
their quarterback?
They are wasting away
Exactly.
Devontae Adams' career, is what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I know Devontae Adams regretted that decision. Whoops. Okay, this is an easy one. November 24th at 12 p.m. Again, Patriots at Dolphins. Come on, you guys are going to smoke them, right?
We
Patriots
are
aren't going to
going
beat.
to win this game, and unfortunately, the next following week,
Yep, Dolphins,
it,
Packers.
we are not gonna take that game.
Woo!
It's a short week.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't see us winning that game. Having to go to Lambeau, that's another problem that the Miami Dolphins have. Not only do we not travel well to the West Coast, we are notoriously bad in cold weather games. Um,
And Tua.
and as you guys saw last year when we played in literally the coldest game ever in the playoff game against the Chiefs, we just
that was
we
nasty.
couldn't hang with them. And the Bills have always given us issues with us going up there, you know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and it's vice versa. I know they
Yeah,
complain
right.
when they come here because of the heat. I
In the
get it.
humidity. Yeah, yeah,
That's the part of the home field advantage,
yeah.
and that's why. Spoiler alert, folks!
Oh, here we go.
I have the Miami Dolphins going to the Super Bowl. Why? Because they
What?
need to get the number one seed in the AFC in order to avoid going to these cold weather slash
Oh,
West
they
Coast
have to.
games.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Mhm.
if they want to win the Super Bowl, this year would be the best year to do it because this year's Super Bowl is going to happen to be played at the Caesar Superdome, which, if you
Yeah,
folks aren't familiar where that is the home to the Who Dat Nation and the New
yeah.
Orleans Saints. So,
Saints.
being that it's a dome, I
Yeah,
ideal weather conditions for the Dolphins to
yeah.
win their first of all, win their first playoff game in 24 years,
Holy
um, and,
shit.
and another
That's
one,
true.
win a Super Bowl the first time in this guy's lifetime.
Wow.
For about
So,
40 years.
yeah. So hang on,
1974 was the last time they won
hang
won
on,
the
hang
Super
We
Bowl.
on
haven't
before
won
you.
since
Okay,
1973. Yeah,
1974. You won in
74.
1973 and 1974. That
Yeah.
was
So
for the
hang
Larry
on.
Zonk years and
There's Bob Greasy.
Bob Greasy. Yep.
Yeah.
So
So I'm just going to butt in for a second. So at the
yeah, go, go,
moment,
go.
your team is 10-2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That last half year schedule,
Yes,
Mondo, is
is a
brutal,
gauntlet. Is
starting
Yes.
with
gauntlet.
the Packers. So this is where the losing starts.
Yeah,
So that's all I'm gonna
And
say.
you got
But
the
go
Jets.
right ahead, John.
Yeah, so now you
this
got the
is
Jets
also,
coming
if you
in.
want to prove that you are the real deal in the
Uh,
NFL, this is where you make your stand right here.
Yeah.
You
So
you
you got the
you padded your
yeah.
record so that way you can,
Mm,
if you lose some of these games like I see them losing to the Packers, because the Packers also need this in order to get a
Yeah,
higher seeding in their
they do.
conference, right? So,
Mhm.
the Dolphins, we're gonna end up losing that game. That's fine. You lick your wounds and go to next week when we play the Jets.
Yeah. So you got Jets, Dolphins, December 8th. I don't know, man. What do you say? You gonna win that?
Yes.
Okay. Then you have the
Especially
Texans.
since one of their star players in defense just requested a trade 2 hours ago.
No, really?
Hassan
Who
Riddick.
was that? Riddick.
Hassan Riddick
That's the
requested a
guy they
trade two
Ooh.
got
or three
from the
hours ago.
Eagles.
Hmm.
Beep,
They
beep,
gave
beep,
up
beep, beep,
draft
beep, beep.
picks
Riddick.
for. They didn't
Too
sign
slack.
him. They didn't
They didn't
sign
sign him.
him. They
Wow.
They
thought they were
traded
going to be
for him,
able
and
to
he's
sign
like,
him.
"Yeah,
Mm,
I'm out."
mm,
Mhm.
mm. So now you're at the Texans. I- Hey man, I love you, but you lose that game. I'm sorry. You do
And
not.
and
At
I
Tech
agree
in
with you.
the okay.
I
All
agree
right.
with you. I really do like C.J. Stroud, a
Yeah.
guy that's been giving us a lot of headaches throughout the
Yikes.
years that we know him well. Stephon
Yeah.
Diggs is going to be lining up with him. Um,
Yeah.
they're good. They're good, and they're going to be
They're a
good
good
for
team.
years to come.
Yeah.
That
They're a good team.
division is theirs for the taking.
Loaded.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So and you know what? That's one of those
Yeah.
where I'm telling you, you lose, you lick your wounds, and you
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you
Yeah.
won all those.
Th-
Look where we're at right now, record wise. Hypothetically speaking, and
Yeah.
Lord
Yeah.
willing, we don't have any injuries, which that
Yeah.
seems to
Yeah.
be
That's
the
that's the
thing that
big one.
derailed us.
So here is your stand up, man up game, in my opinion. This is 49ers come in. You got to win this game, Mondo. You got to win this game. You got to show you can hang with the 49ers because they're really they've been the Packers nemesis for years, and Packers have been booted by the Niners. What do you
Mhm.
think? Do you think this is the key game of the season to show that the Dolphins can stand with anybody, including the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Texans? What do you think of that game?
What if I told you I have them losing that game?
No, no, no,
Yep.
no.
Yep.
Oh
Big
no.
physical team. They have problems with that, especially up
Really?
front.
Yeah.
The 49ers, remember, that's West Coast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think no, they're playing here. They're playing here,
They're
but
playing here. Yeah, they're playing you
I
in
just
Miami.
it's been a toss up. I believe our last game that we played, I believe that we won, but
I think you did.
that's
Oh,
such a
it's
difficult game. And
That's difficult, man.
typically,
Up
when
here.
I do these games where I think it's close, I just chalk it up
Hmm.
as a loss.
Yeah, yeah,
That way, if
yeah,
we do win, then it's a better feeling for me. Just like I had them losing that game the last time that we played and
yeah,
we won.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Mm,
picking them
okay.
to
So,
lose.
yeah, yeah. Then you go. Then you have the Browns. What
Mhm.
you're at the Browns, December 29th. It's a
Mhm.
night game, 7:20. What do you think?
No,
I don't
that's going
know.
to be a win just
Yeah, I get
because
it.
they've already lost 2 weeks back to back. They want to
Hmm.
finish the season strong and head into the playoffs going in strong. So they're
Yeah,
going to win this game and they're going to
yeah.
beat the Jets in the season finale as
And they're
well.
gonna beat the. So that is a game. I think that the Jets are gonna be fighting for their playoff lives. I could be
Mhm,
wrong,
mhm.
but that's what I'm thinking. Andy, any disagreements? Anything you wanna say about what's Miami finish with, like 13 and 14 and 3
13,
or
13
something?
and 4.
13 and
Yeah.
4?
I would love to place a bet with Mondo on that. I would love it. Um,
There we go.
Believe it or not, Mondo, I don't have the Dolphins making the playoffs.
Ooh.
So we'll have to
That's
see
okay.
about that.
Mhm,
I really like Miami. I love their high-powered offense. I love
mhm,
that they have two great players like Mostert and Achan.
mhm.
They helped me win my family fantasy league last year because I would put
Nice.
them in it both in at the same time, and one of them's going to go off, right?
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
so I love those guys. I was actually paying attention quite a bit to Miami because of
Mhm.
them, a lot of their players being on my fantasy team. So,
Yeah.
That
but
helps.
yeah,
That helps.
no, I would have to say they are not going to be 13 and 4. I don't think many teams with the parity in the NFL are gonna
Really?
be 13 and 4, and that would
So
not
Mhm.
be the team I would pick
so
to be
Andy,
13 and 4.
what's your
Not
big
even the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be winning
oh,
12,
dropping
13 games.
bombs.
Yeah,
You're
I don't
dropping
think so.
bombs
I
tonight.
think you're looking at maybe 11 games even for them. So, but we'll see.
Wow, okay,
We'll
we're
see.
dropping some bombs tonight.
Mhm.
So Andy, really quickly, what makes you think what scares you or what makes you be hesitant? Because I like the Dolphins. I really think they'll make the playoffs just because they have just too much damn talent. And Mondo's exactly right. Their front office is one of the best, so they'll find pieces. But what's your thing?
So
What
here's my
scares
little
you?
assessment and my
Yeah, go
sound
ahead.
bites
Yeah,
on
let's
that.
do that now.
So basically I said Tua's not the guy, and
No,
they overpaid
okay.
him.
Okay.
And so they gave him $212 million for 4 years. He cannot win playoff football games in inclement or cold weather.
Yeah, we talked
He
about that.
doesn't have the arm or the legs to win that type of game. I don't believe. Just look what he did in Buffalo. He couldn't throw the ball, so his playmakers, Hill, Waddle, Mostert, Achan, make him look better than he is because he has so much
Mhm.
talent around him.
Mm,
And so the real question with Tua is this, and this is the big thing with me: can he stay healthy? So if he gets knocked out of the game this year, if he misses some games, they really do need Tua to be in there because I'm not sure who their backup quarterback is, Mondo, but he's
Yeah,
that
it's
that
you're
not as
looking
good
at
as
Skylar
Tua.
Thompson or you're looking at Mike White,
Who?
which Mike White is
Oh
Skylar
yeah, yeah,
Thompson.
oh yeah. He used to play
But
with the Jets. Yeah,
then again, if you take out Pat Mahomes, you're gonna trust that
yeah,
Carson
yeah,
Wentz is gonna
sure,
take them to the Super Bowl,
yeah.
or
yeah.
if you guys lose Jordan Love,
Oh, don't say that.
Well, John's been,
but you're playing the hypothetical game.
yeah.
I can do that too. I hope to God that Tua, stays healthy. And last year was actually the season that he stayed the healthiest. Why? Because they finally figured out what was going on. It wasn't that his main issue was he was holding on to the ball too long. So it's
Mm,
got to be Dan Marino actually had a conversation with him. He's like, if you don't
oh,
see
really?
it, let it fly and live for the next play. And Tua was just taking a beating, so of course he was getting hurt.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah,
just live for the next play, and you know what? And if
yeah.
it's third down, throw it away and live for fourth down. And our
Mm,
defense
mhm,
has been well. Like you were saying, yeah, earlier we lost Christian Wilkins, but what they decided to do was they spent the money and got a rotation of guys. And there is one player that we picked up from the Titans, Taylor. Taylor, I believe is his name,
mm,
but they're expecting big things out of him. Not the reason why they didn't want to pay Christian Wilkins is I'm gonna tell you the truth. They
yeah,
didn't want to pay Christian Wilkins is because he wasn't getting the big sack numbers against the quality teams. He was building up his
mm.
resume against the lower
Oh,
tier teams.
okay.
So that's
Interesting.
where
Y
his sack numbers were really coming from.
yeah,
Um, So you don't want to, like how you were saying, you don't want to spend the money on Tua. I would have to disagree, even though he's not the highest paid quarterback. Uh,
Mm.
the man's accuracy is pretty deadly. Where I would say people are saying he doesn't have the arm strength, he's getting the ball to Tyreek. He's getting the ball to Waddle. And all you got to do is get it to them and let them do their thing. And going back to my front office has been amazing where they're like, all right, we put too much stress on Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. How about we bring in Odell Beckham Jr. and Jonnu Smith, which is the third fastest tight end in the NFL? Let's bring them in just to give our guys some more weapons to have. So I wholeheartedly believe. I'm not saying Tua is a top 5 quarterback in this league,
Mm.
but he definitely
Yeah, I was
deserves
gonna ask
to be a
that.
top 10 quarterback in this league. Wholeheartedly, he is a top 10.
Really, top 10. Would you say he's better than trying to think, who's like a middle guy? Do you think he's better than Jalen Hurts? I mean, obviously in the national championship game in Alabama, I thought he was. Do you think he's
Oh,
better than Jalen Hurts?
that no, I don't think so.
Mm,
But I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is leaps and bounds ahead.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I if I had to answer truthfully, yeah, I'd say Jalen Hurts is
Yeah.
better.
You, you know what? One thing I want to say that I think might hurt you on defense that we got this coach, which I absolutely loved. We got your linebacker coach, Anthony Campanile.
Campanelli. Yep.
Campanile? Yeah.
Hmm.
And I was looking at his stats here, and he's so he was, spent the last 4 seasons with the Dolphins, and he
Yep.
helped the Miami rank number 4 in the NFL over that span in sacks, number
Yeah.
6 in rushing defense, number 8 in takeaways, and third down defenses. Your defense was 38.6%, tied for fifth, and then also forced fumbles 56. Holy footballs. And that is hell of a defense. You
Yeah.
guys might miss that guy. I'm just saying.
So here's the thing, John. So I honestly I thought Coach Campanelli was going to be our D coordinator this year. I believe he
Yeah.
deserved the promotion, and since he didn't get that promotion, he I mean he left, and I don't blame him.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I thought he was a way better coach than Coach Fangio. Coach
Oh, I do
Fangio
too.
just didn't reach our players, um, and a lot of the players just didn't really like him. And if you saw Hard Knocks, you saw more Coach Campanelli than you did Fangio.
Yes. Yeah, you did.
But
Yeah, you
Fangio
did.
is more of like the old school type of coach, and he just wasn't reaching out to our players. But that
Yeah.
being said, even though we did
Mhm.
lose Coach Campanelli, I do really like Coach Weaver that we just picked up from the Ravens. He's
Right,
been
right.
a lot of the players are super excited to be playing for him, happy. We've even seen Jalen Ramsey's talk about him, saying it's night and day the contrast.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
So one thing I asked too, the Packers have the Bears. I mean, we absolutely hate Bear fans. They hate us. Uh, Vikings fans are delusional. Andy and I were talking about this in our last podcast. So Vikings fans are delusional. Bears fans are delusional and insane. And Lions fans, they're okay. They just haven't done anything for a long time. It's like anything is good for them. They're
Right.
like, "Hey, we had Barry Sanders and we had Megatron and we had all
They,
these," and they
they
did. They
had
had
good
Hall of
players. It
Fame.
just they
Yeah,
never were able to
could
get it
do it.
together. Like you had
Oh,
a Herman
yeah,
Moore. You had
or
they
yeah,
had
right?
good players. It's just they were never able to
So
put it
who
together.
is Miami's fans? Who do you guys like? Man, will you shut up? Like you're just totally sick of that you
Pat,
talk to, and you're like, come on.
the Pats. We all hate the Pats. I have friends that are Jets fans. I have friends that are Bills fans. We all we all bust each other's chops, But
Yeah.
one thing that we can all agree on is we all hate the Patriots. We kind of form together like Voltron and and make fun of the Patriots.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all the team that we don't like. But yeah, I think the fan base that the Dolphins kind of we respect the Bills for the
yeah,
most part that I know of.
sure.
We do respect Josh Allen and how dangerous he is.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure what really happened to him last year. Last year it seemed like a bit of a down year for him.
Mhm.
But overall, his career that he can play that.
Yeah,
Uh, not I
yeah,
know Tua is not a top five
yeah.
like I was saying. Josh Allen is.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
Mondo, I was going to
absolutely.
ask you who
Yeah.
was ranked number one, the number one football player by football players in the NFL. That just came out, top 100
Just
list,
came out,
number
top
one,
100.
Sir,
higher than Patrick Mahomes.
you need to stop dropping footballs when it's when we need you to hold on to them. But Tyreek Hill, you deserve it. You deserve it, man. Thank you for an
Yeah,
excellent year.
yeah, yeah.
You would have caught me that touchdown against the Chiefs the first go round. The
Uh,
season might have looked a little differently, but hey,
mm,
hopefully this year and kudos to the front office for. I'm telling you, man, we're super appreciative of our front office. We that
sure.
that that's been the thing that we've never appreciated down
Mhm,
here. I would
mhm,
say is a good quality front office,
yeah,
and I think the fan base started mostly realizing how important that was when the Heat first came around.
mm,
Um, they were able to get those big players, but then it
yeah,
started becoming they were developing these street free agents that weren't drafted or anything like that. And it's like, oh man, you guys are picking this guy out of where, and
yeah,
he's starting for you or whatever.
mhm. Yeah, right,
And
right.
that's when we started seeing the importance of a front office, and now you're seeing that with the
Mm, yeah.
Dolphins, and you see that with the Panthers to an extent as well. It's
So
important.
Mondo, sorry to
Mhm.
cut you off. So I'm going to give you my prediction here. And this kind of
Oh,
ties
here we
in with
go.
what you're
Let's go with
saying. So
prediction.
I know they made the
Yeah.
the last two
Playoffs?
seasons.
Mhm.
But I don't see it happening for them this year.
Mm,
And in fact, in the
Yeah.
last 20 years, and I think you alluded to this, Mondo, the Miami Dolphins have only been in the playoffs 4 times. In those 4 games, they lost in the wild card game every single time.
mm,
Yeah.
So I don't see them making the Super Bowl, and I don't see them making the playoffs because unfortunately I think some's going to happen that's
mm.
gonna some major injury, whatever it is.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I predicted this with Rodgers last year, John, didn't I?
Yeah, I know
I
you did.
jinxed
Thanks a
them.
lot.
I jinxed them. So,
You jinxed
uh,
them.
but anyway, I'm going to give you a little history. The Dolphins were founded in August 1965, almost 60 years ago. They had the
Right.
worst record of any franchise over their first 4 seasons. However, then Miami won the Super Bowl in 1973 and 1974.
Hmm.
They have won the Super Bowl just again, they haven't won in 50 years, basically, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
well,
That's correct.
that
So
was
And
your
if
year.
it wasn't for Coach Shula, we wouldn't have.
almost
I
50
believe we
years.
traded for well the Colts were in Baltimore back then, but yeah, we traded for Coach Shula and yeah.
Yeah, and we were
Yeah,
talking about this on our last podcast, John, about the Milwaukee Brewers baseball team never winning
yeah, never
a
winning a World
World
Series.
Series in like 50, over 50 years. So
Mm.
again, I see a lot of
Hey, you guys
correlations.
have one of my favorite Marlins when they were here, Christian Yelich, man.
Christian
I
Yelich?
used to love
Yeah.
me some Christian
Yeah,
Yelich. We had
Yep.
a man, we had a team, man, and
yeah,
that's
you
the
did.
thing that the Miami fans we hate about the Marlins. You build them up just so they can have a successful career somewhere else. Like we hate that. That's why a
Yeah,
lot of us don't really support the Marlins down here.
really. Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Mhm.
And I know like Tampa Bay, well, whatever they are now, the Rays, not the Devil Rays. They've done okay, I mean, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
um, so here what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat. Quick fire again before we wrap up the show here. Okay, you're gonna pick just division winners, okay, Mondo, just division winners. And if you don't have it written down and you didn't think about it, just go off the cuff. It's okay because it's way too early right now. We haven't
Mhm.
finished training camp. So AFC East, I think I can guess who wins that division. Right?
Unless if the Miami Dolphins no longer exist on God's green earth.
I love it. Okay, AFC West, who wins that division?
So I got Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, and the Tyreek Hill replacement from this
Ooh,
upcoming draft or this past draft.
yeah, that's
Um,
right.
yeah, I think they're reloaded.
Mm, gosh, that sucks. Anyway, AFC North. AFC North is a tough one. This is a tough
Okay,
one.
this is where I may differ from your opinion. Um,
Okay.
but I believe Joe Burrow is back, and I believe that the
Mm,
Cincinnati Bengals win this one.
really? And you don't think the Ravens, Lamar Jackson he's just
Okay, Lamar
no?
Jackson. No,
Mm,
I don't. I don't because
okay.
I don't
All
see
right.
he trusts his legs more than he does trusting his
No,
arm,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Okay.
that's the truth.
Uh,
That
yeah, I hear you. AFC South. Kind of an easy one, I guess, right?
Texans, that boy, that
Yeah,
CJ
yeah,
Stroud is a bad man.
yeah. You don't think the Jaguars or the Colts are going to step up? You think they're still middle of the
Mm,
pack, huh?
So if I had to name the rest of the teams that I have going, I have the Ravens, Bills, and Colts
Okay.
Yeah,
as the
I would
other
have to
teams
agree
that
with
I have
Mondo.
going.
I'm looking at the Colts as a possible
Mm,
sleeper
mm,
team to sneak
Yeah.
in
yeah.
there.
That's
Well,
that's what I was going to ask next. Who's your sleeper team? Who's the team that's going to surprise you this year in the AFC? Let's start with the AFC. Colts?
okay, in the sense of surprising making it to the playoffs, or in the
Yeah,
sense of making it to
let's say
like the
making it to
AFC Championship game.
no, just playoffs. Let's just do playoffs. Let's
Playoffs,
just do
yeah,
playoffs. Yes.
I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. I really do like
Okay.
Richardson. Hmm.
Okay. All right. So let's go. We're gonna flash forward here. AFC Championship game. Who do you got?
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
Ah,
What a
against
homer. What a
against
fanatic. That's awesome.
who are they against? Who are they playing?
All right, so I got to take this back to you. So my father, the first football game I ever got to witness
Mm,
was probably one of the better games that I ever been to in my life, and we lost. And it's just
mm.
so funny. I have the Dolphins losing to this team in the regular season, but beating them in the Super Bowl. This team
Ooh.
happened to have arguably the greatest football player of all time, and I got to witness him just like I got to witness Kobe Bryant play the Miami Heat here in
Right.
Miami. So I got
Yeah.
to see the Heat versus the Lakers. But I had the honor of being able to see Jerry Rice play with
Mm,
Steve Young, and it was a Monday night game, and what an amazing experience! Even though we lost,
sure.
just
Sure.
being able to understand what I was witnessing and
Okay.
just
You get to watch
Yeah.
performing.
greatness. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
basically
greatness.
what you're
Yeah. Yeah.
watching.
Okay.
So I have the Miami Dolphins playing the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl and
Ooh,
In the
avenging
Super
the
Bowl.
regular season loss
wow.
and avenging
Mm.
young Mondo's first football experience.
Nice, nice. So,
Were we going to go
But
through
okay.
the
I do have
NFC?
to, I do
Yeah,
have to
yeah, we
practice. I promise
kind of
you,
kind of
I
we
do
Wait,
gave
have
right
to
to the
practice
end.
going to the NFC conference game.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So let's
Okay.
just
Okay. Okay.
let me put the frosting on top of the cake a little early. That's okay. But we're still going to finish the NFC. NFC East. What do you got? Who do you got
Eagles.
in the NFC East? Eagles?
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
It's not going to
NFC
be
West. Who do you
Dallas.
got? 49ers. Oh, you got
Niners.
who do you got? NFC West, obviously 49ers, right? NFC North, you better be careful here, Mondo.
Hey, I will tell you this. A friend of a friend, when I
Okay,
used to
okay.
work as a store manager at Foot Locker, a coworker of mine used to play at a very well-known high school here called Columbus, and he got to play with the former Packer. His name was Pat Lee.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
so super nice guy. I got to meet him, hang out with him, just talk how the Packers, how you guys do up there, and I got a sense of appreciation from that too. But yeah, you guys, I have you guys winning the
All
North for
right.
sure. Green Bay
All
Packers.
right.
All right.
All right. And then NFC South, which, in my opinion, guys,
Mhm.
please argue with me if you want to. This is the worst division in football. I don't care.
Yep.
Worst division in football. What do you?
I agree.
Who takes this? Who takes
I,
this division?
I said if you guys remember earlier, I had picked the
Falcons.
Falcons.
Falcons. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins
Good,
is there,
good
so that's going to
choice.
make a big difference.
Ugh,
And
Cousins.
their
Good
defense is
choice.
pretty good. I got to see it
Yep.
firsthand. Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
I
total
just think
agreement,
this,
Mondo.
Hmm.
total agreement too. I just think this is the worst division in football. I
I
just
agree.
do.
Hmm.
I just I don't know. So Mondo, thank you so much, man. We have the 49ers barely beating the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, buddy, if you want to beat the 49ers, stop racing everybody.
There you
Just
go.
catch the damn ball.
And Mondo, before you leave tonight, I was going to give you some very interesting facts about Miami. I know we're going to run over time
Oh,
tonight, but it doesn't really matter. So, Miami is the only major city in the United States, only one founded by a woman, Julia Tuttle, in
I didn't know that.
1860.
I didn't know
It
that.
Oh,
snowed once,
yeah.
once on January 19th, 1977.
That's
Hmm.
hilarious.
Miami is the only U.S. city bordered by two national parks, Biscayne to the south, the Everglades to the southwest.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's
The
I'm
first
knocking on that door.
sunscreen, the first sunscreen in the United States of America was invented in the Sunshine State right in Miami.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then last but not least, 16% of the population is over 65 years old. John, you should retire down there. Just
I'm gonna
There
reverse
you
the
go.
retire
numbers in your age, and you're all of a sudden 65, right, John?
that. Me and my
Both of us
liver
are.
me and my
Bust every
liver
count.
spots. Me and my liver spots who were retired down in Miami.
Yep.
Uh
Oh,
go
last
go
thing.
ahead.
So I have the Lions, Cowboys, and the Buccaneers. I don't know why Baker Mayfield has grown on me, but those are the three teams that I have sneaking into the playoffs in the NFC.
Yeah.
Mm.
Another little factoid for you: Gatorade was actually invented in
Oh, that's
Florida in the
right.
University of Gainesville. Florida
Ooh,
Gators.
nice.
Mm.
Gatorade.
Yeah, I love that. I
Awesome.
love that. Yeah, that's
Even though
awesome.
I'm a Hurricanes fan, so boo.
Just had some
uh,
Gatorade earlier today.
yeah,
Yeah,
Gatorade is from Florida as well. Hooters, the establishment eatery location was
I
from
love it.
Florida as well.
Love
Um,
it.
and I don't know what else I can think of. Useless
Some
knowledge,
really
I
good
guess.
stuff.
Yeah.
Thank
Some
you
really
so
good
much,
stuff.
Mondo.
Oh,
You're
okay.
Yeah,
I
thanks
awesome.
so
want to
much,
play this
Mondo.
one last game with you. One last game, and then I'll let you guys go. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Does this team make the playoffs? 12 different starting offensive line combinations. 48% of the total offensive snaps were played by offensive line backups. The average team that made the playoffs last year was about 17%. Top two pass rushers out for 10 games combined. And your number one corner missed the first half of the season. Does this team make the playoffs?
I think they did, but I'm going to say no way.
No.
This team was your 2023 Miami Dolphins.
Oh.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
Ah,
true. You guys, it's
That's
that's
hard
how
right.
not.
Your
decimated by
offensive line
injuries
was
we were.
decimated. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys are totally
but you
killed
still
with
have
injuries.
Larmy Tunsil, right? Tunsil,
No,
left
Tunsil's
tackle.
with the Texans. We
Oh, did
traded
he? Oh, that's
Laramie
right. You
Tunsil
traded
for a
him.
whole
Yeah,
bunch of picks, which
got it.
started
Yeah,
our upward
you're right.
trajectory.
Yep,
But when I saw that stat of 48% of the total offensive snaps
That's
were played by
crazy.
wow,
backups
it's
was
crazy.
insane.
That's crazy,
Hmm.
man. It
Hmm.
still made the playoffs.
And
That's
still
Very
make
well that
interesting.
that's a testament to your front office again. That's
yeah,
that's that's huge. They get guys that can come in and weather the ship, weather the storm,
yeah. Big thanks
it's a
to
tough one.
Kendall Lamb. There was a bunch of backups that we
Yeah,
had. Isaiah Wynn,
yeah,
just players that nobody even knew of, and they were producing for us. So yeah,
yeah.
our front office makes a
Right.
difference, and you guys, you guys have always had a great front
Yeah.
office. So
Yeah,
it
we
makes the
always
world
figure out
different.
quarterback. Everyone hates us about that. That we just
You
go
guys,
from
you guys are
Favre
so
to
lucky. I mean,
Rodgers to
J Love.
Love.
we went from Dan Marino, and we had 25 different starting quarterbacks until we stumbled across uh, our Samoan sniper Tua
Oh
Tagovailoa.
my god. I
Wow.
know. Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
Bears' futility with
Yeah,
that.
like the Bears Bear fans,
Yeah.
that's quarterback hell. So we'll see if Caleb does anything. I'm
He
not
looked
sold
good in
on
his
him.
first preseason game.
He looked all
Got to
right.
give him
I
that.
saw a
He
few of
looked
Yeah,
fine.
I
I
watched
mean,
the game for a little while. I didn't
yeah,
know it was on, but it was.
but you're going against a vanilla defense. You're going against guys who are like, come on. I mean,
that's
I
true.
don't know.
But you
We'll
got to
see.
play who's in
We'll
front of
see.
you.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
But they're no
So
match for the Packers, so you guys don't have to
no,
worry.
man. I got Bear fans at work and they won't shut up, and I'm like, keep talking. Just keep on talking.
Just
We'll
wait.
see in the season.
Just
We'll see in
waiting
the
in.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Mondo, if we after the Thanksgiving game, if you're around from the holidays and stuff, we'll have to have you back on, and we'll have to talk about the game, win or lose,
yeah.
and and talk about it and see if we're right, and maybe we could do like a mid-season thing and see if we're like even close
Hey,
to
I
any of
just
our
hope to
predictions.
God that 48% number isn't what's going
So
on
do
this
I.
year, or number one
All
is
right, buddy.
still tearing up the league. Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
because he was
Well,
having
thank you so
a
much for
really
being
good run.
on. I really
Thanks, Mondo.
appreciate it. And again, check Mondo and his lovely wife Jen out on their YouTube as well as Instagram. Paranormal 305. They have some nice spooky stuff. Will give you a good scare. And just know when you listen to this, when you send us emails, I'm going to send some to Mondo if they're getting pretty rough. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, just send them 305 or Mr. 305 Paranormal at gmail.com if you want to reach me directly. I'll talk sports with you.
All right, man. Well, good. Like I said, love to have you back on, buddy. You have a good one, and I wish the Dolphins the best because hey, they're a good
Go
team.
Pack Nation unless you play my Dolphins.
Yeah, you heard it, brother. All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Take care.
Take care.